Hello and welcome back to the second part of this miniseries. If you haven't seen the first part, where we cover the early but not forgotten beginnings of technology, you can check that video first. Welcome to Simplified, where answers make sense. Now, let's continue with the next breakthrough invention. In 1826, French scientist Nicephore Niepce managed to capture an image of his home courtyard. He managed this by developing a light-sensitive solution to copy lithographs onto glass, zinc, and eventually a pewter plate. Now, you are probably wondering what lithographs are, but no worries, we've got you covered. In overly simple terms, the lithograph is created based on a painting inked in stone with the help of oils and other thick substances. The image is then pressed on paper with a pressure bar. The lithograph is the resulting impression on paper that shows the reverse image of the original drawn on the stone. Niepce used his solution to duplicate an image captured in a camera obscura. And this is how his first picture, titled View from the Window at Le Gras, came to life. A few years later, in 1838, the first photography was taken by Louis Daguerre, and it showed a scene with a man standing along Boulevard du Temple getting his shoes shined. Since then, much progress has been made to this point, when smartphones have made photography accessible to nearly everyone. And social media has made it easier than ever to share our pictures with the world. Some years later, two revolutionary inventions were introduced. The telegraph and the telephone changed the way people communicated in the 19th century, and of course, the way we communicate now. The telegraph was the very first practical means of electrical communication. It was invented by Samuel Morse in 1837. This successful painter got intrigued by the idea of an electric telegraph. In 1837, he succeeded to patent this prototype. In 1844, he was the first person to transmit a message across the first long-distance telegraph line, which connected Baltimore and Washington, D.C. The message was, "What has God done?" The next step had to be, of course, communication by actual voice. Alexander Graham Bell came up with the invention of the telephone. The first telephone call was on 10th March in 1876. The call was of course placed by Graham himself, when he called his assistant Tom Watson, saying, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." Shortly after this, in 1879, the father of technology, Thomas Edison, invented the first practical electric light bulb. After thousands of trials, he succeeded in making this carbon filament light bulb burn for 13.5 hours. If you are wondering what a filament is, no worries, that's why we are here. A filament is a single thread, or a thin thread-like flexible object. It is basically this part of the bulb. Filaments have a high melting point. After this discovery, electric light soon became widespread and was used to light streets and public spaces. The incandescent light bulb was eventually replaced by more efficient LED light bulbs, which are used today. The 20th century began with the development of radio. This has had a profound impact on the world, changing the way of communication and information sharing. The first radio transmissions were sent in the late 19th century, but it wasn't until the early 20th century that the technology began to develop. In 1901, Guglielmo Marconi made the first official transmission across the Atlantic Ocean. radio quickly became a popular source of entertainment, but it has also played the role in the dissemination of news and information. And it was used to broadcast important events such as presidential speeches and news reports. The second important invention of the 20th century is the airplane. The Wright brothers are credited with inventing the first successful airplane in 1903. On December 17, Orville Wright made the first flight. Together with his brother, Wilbur, they made 4 flights in the same day. That is all for this part. To find out how the most important technologies develop, stay tuned for part 3, where we cover the hottest topics in technology yet. And don't forget to subscribe.